So, self-driving cars are on the horizon, right? And that brings up a huge question. How do we make sure they're safe for everyone, especially for pedestrians? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty surprising connection, the one between patent law and, actually saving lives on our streets. And it all kicks off with a number that's, well, it's pretty tough to look at.
Yeah, that's not just some random statistic. That's how many pedestrians lost their lives in the US in just 1 year, 2019. I mean, that is a staggering number. And it screams that we have an urgent problem that needs a solution. Like yesterday.
And that leads us to the big question, the one that the entire autonomous vehicle industry is wrestling with. How can we use all this incredible tech to get that number down, ideally all the way to zero? But the answer isn't simple. It's actually pretty complex. And it all starts with really digging into the problem itself. Okay, so before we jump into all the cool, groundbreaking solutions, we really have to get our heads around just how tricky this whole thing is. I mean, think about it. Trying to program a car to navigate a world that was designed for humans, that is not an easy job.
Right? Just think about it for a second. We humans, we're kind of unpredictable, aren't we? We jaywalk, we get lost in our phones. Now throw in some real-world curveballs like blinding rain or super dense fog, maybe even total darkness. And on top of that, you've got a legal system that's still playing catch-up. All of a sudden, you're looking at a massive, massive technological puzzle.
So that's the puzzle. How in the world do you convince companies to pour billions and billions of dollars into solving such a complicated, high-stakes problem? Well, a huge part of the answer, it comes down to the power of a patent.
Okay, so what is a patent really? Put simply, it's basically a legal force field around a new idea. It lets an inventor say, hey, this is mine, and it gives them the exclusive rights to it for a while. And that protection, let me tell you, it's one of the most powerful motivators for innovation we've got.
It's because of that legal force field that companies can feel secure enough to go all in, investing huge amounts of money and time into R&D. They know that their big, game-changing breakthrough isn't just going to be copied by a competitor the very next day.
And here's where it gets really interesting in the real world. This is how it translates to the marketplace. If a company has a unique piece of safety tech that's patented, they can stand out from the crowd. They can literally say, our cars are safer, and that gives them a huge competitive advantage.
And of course, that advantage leads directly to attracting investors. Because if you're someone looking to fund the future of this tech, a big, strong patent portfolio isn't just a bunch of ideas on paper. No way. It's solid, tangible proof that a company is a leader, that they're innovative, and that they're a smart place to put your money.
You see how it all connects? It creates this powerful, positive feedback loop. You protect an idea, which encourages a ton of investment in R&D. That R&D then creates brand new technology, which can be licensed out, and that money then funds the next big breakthrough. It's the engine that literally drives life-saving innovation forward.
Okay, so now let's get to the really fun part. Let's see what this engine is actually building. We're talking about the specific technologies being patented right now that are designed to keep pedestrians safe. This is where the sci-fi stuff starts to feel very, very real.
This is a great way to see just how superhuman an AV's senses are. I mean, we've got our eyes and ears, which are pretty good. But an AV, it's using a whole suite of things, cameras, radar, and the real game changer, Lidar. That's the one that uses lasers to build a super precise 3D map of everything around it. And when you fuse all that data together, the car gets this incredible 360-degree view, day or night, in pretty much any weather.
But what if the car could know a danger was there before its sensors even picked it up? I mean, how cool would that be? Well, that's the whole idea behind something called V2X, or Vehicle-to-Everything Communication. It's kind of like giving the car a sixth sense, the ability to talk to the whole city.
What this does is create this amazing digital safety net. So a car could get an alert directly from a pedestrian smartphone before they even step into the street. Or it could get a heads up from a smart traffic light up ahead. It's this whole other layer of proactive safety that sensors alone just can't provide. So you've got all this data pouring in, and it all feeds right into the car's brain, where these patented algorithms are working like crazy. They're constantly trying to predict what a pedestrian might do next, they're calculating the best way to avoid a collision, and they're plotting the safest possible path forward. And they're doing all of this in a tiny fraction of a second. It's mind-blowing. Okay, so you've got all this incredible tech. The big question then is, how do companies actually protect it? Well, it turns out there's a pretty clear strategic playbook for turning a brilliant idea into a legally solid asset.
Building a rock-solid patent really comes down to 4 key steps. First, you got to do your homework. You do a deep dive, what's called a prior art search, to make absolutely sure your idea is brand new. Then, you draft a super detailed application and you file it fast to lock in your spot in line. And finally, you think globally. You develop a strategy to protect it in all the key markets around the world. Every single one of those steps is crucial for building that legal force field we talked about.
And this quote really nails it. It brings the whole idea home. You see, having a really solid patent strategy isn't just about checking a legal box. It's a powerful business tool. It's what gives investors the confidence they need to fund the very technologies that are going to make our roads safer for everyone.
So, when you put it all together, where is all this actually hitting? When you connect the dots between the law, the technology, and the investment, you can start to see the outline of a much safer future taking shape.
Because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal here isn't just about building smarter cars. It's about building safer communities. It's a future where we encourage this kind of innovation, where technology and policy actually work hand in hand to protect the most vulnerable people out there on our streets.
And that leaves us with one final, really big question to think about. You know, as these cars get smarter and take on more and more of the responsibility for driving, it forces us all to kind of rethink what accountability even means. Who's ultimately responsible for our safety? Is it the person who wrote the code? The person who owns the car? The company that built it? That's a question technology alone can't answer. And it's one we're all going to have to figure out together.